This one's going to be a little bit unique. This is information I think will be helpful to you in terms of understanding what you're a part of and maybe inform your posture as I slouch on my stool here and just give you a little bit more confidence in who we are and what we're about relative to the industry we're a part of, which, let's be frank, doesn't have generally the best reputation out there, except for those who know, and good on you. You're what I call a late early adopter. That's the sweet spot to be in. The early adopters has too much risk, but once it's moved past that later early adopter stage, there's a proven concept here that's usually been personified poorly, gets personified better. To quote previous CEO of Walmart, he who reinvents his industry owns it. That's the process we're in. So a little bit of history, if you will, or background in terms of my opinion, in terms of who we are and what we're about, to feed your confidence as you go about doing what you're doing. Number one, unreservedly, and I can speak from experience and qualified perspective, our CEO, Stuart Hughes, is the best CEO in the industry. He is uniquely qualified, superbly skilled, and wonderful at doing what needs to get done, and has built the beginnings of an expanding management team that have similar attributes. But as relates to Stuart more specifically, the fact that he has come from a high-level distributor background, in other words, he has, let's use a phrase, our DNA, is a wonderful blessing to us and allows the corporation as a whole to move forward in a very different and unique way. Now, we're not unique in that regard. Other companies have had distributors come in and I would suggest attempt to run their businesses. The fact that Stuart was brought up in the financial services industry, is an extremely disciplined individual, has very rigorous mindset, overlaid with a distributor DNA, so rigorous financial services, disciplined financial, spreadsheet-based, saw the value of the business in terms of serving some of the high flyers in it, entered into it, but came to it with that perspective and those personal disciplines, and then after a goodly period of time and proof of concept and success, then moved into the CEO portion of this business, is a unique example in this industry. I cannot think of any other company, and I know most, where that has proven as successful as it has for us. Now, that's not something we preach. We never want to make this business about any one individual, for heaven help us, that anyone gets hit by a bus and they cease to exist tomorrow. That's not why you join us. But knowing that, and knowing my confidence in that, if I have any credibility with you, should give you some degree of confidence that yes, we are that little bit different, that little bit more special, a little bit more DNA driven, that little bit more fundamentally sound than maybe our competitors, and it is a competitive marketplace. The other thing to feed your intuition and posture is our heritage. And this is one I think you can begin to speak with conceptually with prospects and new people joining you. We've been around a long time. Long time. Great. That means that we've weathered the storms, some inflicted upon us, some, quite frankly, of our own making. We know what bad times look like, feel like, smell like. We therefore know how to come out the other side because we've done so in individual markets, in individual circumstances, in individual environments and economies, as well as collectively as an organization. We know what not to do. We know when we see those storm clouds gathering what to do to prevent, to negate, to minimize those storm clouds. We've learned from our own tuition and experience how to do that. And then you factor in point number one, an experienced individual in financial services, then high level distributorship, and then steering the ship now, only augments that heritage and experience that we have. I think our being around a long time, I think therefore by definition our ability to weather storms, and I would suggest augment momentum when it comes, speaks to a huge upside. That's a foundation point that we should be proud of, that we should weave into our conversation. All too often, that's seen as a negative in this industry. Well, they're not the new shiny object. They're not the latest fancy thing. Well, frankly, I don't want to be. This is a residual income business. This is one that my check, those checks that are large in the business are based on residual purchases. That's what residual income comes from. The fact that we've been around long enough and we have people buying the product and circling out somewhere else and coming back. I even have some of the senior management and owners of other companies in the industry buying product from me because it's just that darn good, because it's been proven over time to be so. Our only challenge now is to stop being the industry's best kept secret. Start telling that story with more posture. Yeah, the compensation plan and the products and all the usual points of selling are there, and ours score well on all those measures. But you add to that the serious CEO-ness factor and the uniqueness of that and the best in the industry factor of that and the confidence that can give you. Add to that our heritage and our ability to augment good times and overcome bad times. Builds confidence in our competence. And that, I think, is significant and something that should feed your confidence in your competence.